NFTs and whatever.
Well, it is relevant because I have a press release in front of me from the ICC, which is always a good time, and they are also running a fantasy team, but you'll be very pleased to know they are doing it hand in hand with Fan Craze. Remember Fan Craze, our favourites in the blockchain business. Here we are.
They're the ones who sponsored all the. Were they the ones that got involved in county cricket last year for about 5 minutes as well?
They might have done.
I think they were the ones who sponsored. Like back when, like 18 months, 2 years ago, people were like, "No, this is the way we're all going to make our millions."
It's incredible.
Haven't heard anyone talk about NFTs and sponsorship for a while, but please tell us more.
They're trying to sell you an NFT of Josh Bohannon's 47 against fucking Derbyshire. You know.
Sure. I'll have that if it's Josh Bohannon, but yeah.
You would too. Let me regale you. The ICC and Fan Craze today announced a multi-year partnership extension marking a significant milestone in the evolution of digital fan engagement. It's evolving, Adam. It's evolving. This is like Jurassic Park. We've detailed the upcoming launch of ICC Crypto's Super Team, a Web3 fantasy game featuring officially licensed ICC digital video collectibles. Fans will be able to build fantasy teams using their ICC Cryptos week after week, proving their cricket nous to the world. This is perfect targeting, right? Perfect targeting to get those irritating pricks who are so determined to prove that they know more about everything than everybody else. Now they've got a vehicle to try to do it. Great encouragement of that kind of behavior. ICC Cryptos have provided opportunities for new and existing fans to engage with men's and women's cricket and transformed the way fans experience the world, providing them with exclusive digital video collectibles that celebrate the greatest moments in cricket history. Let me hit pause on this just for a second. Experience the sport, sorry, not the world, but to transform the way fans experience the sport, and let me just elaborate on this. They are transforming the way fans experience the sport by playing them video highlights. That's it.
Has an old Robbie Alinda sorted this out?
I'm pretty sure Rob Moody's
got you covered, boys.
I'm pretty sure if you wrote a letter to YouTube and got his channel put back on, you would be sorted. I'm pretty sure that watching video highlights is something that we fucking figured out how to do a while ago. I'm pretty sure I remember Tim Webster rolling through them on the top 10 of, whatever happened this week on Sports Tonight. Like, I think
Play of the Day on Sports Tonight.
I'm pretty sure Timmy W had you covered.
93. Timmy Webster. Haven't heard his name in a while.
Transformed the way fans experience the support by, get this, saving and rewatching clips of a moment that you enjoyed. Nobody does that. Nobody's done that before, not before Fan Craze. No one knew how to do that. No one had thought of it. They had the moment once and they never saw it again, and that's how we did things back in the day. Right. Through unique activations, ICC Cryptos have brought supporters closer to the action than ever before. Events like the ICC Quiz Night and ICC Stadium Tours have further enriched the fan experience, offering enthusiasts the chance to meet their heroes and participate in engaging activities that celebrate the spirit of cricket. Oh, you know what I love, Adam? I love an engaging activity. I love an activity that engages. They've invented quiz nights.
What's the premise?
And stadium tours.
So we got the VHS highlights. And we're putting on some quiz nights.
That's a unique activation because you should know that brands these days only do activations. That's when that means doing something. That's just a much better way to say it because it sounds better for.
So have you got to buy the NFTs to have access to a quiz night? Is that what they're saying?
I think so.
It'd want to be a digital quiz night. You wouldn't want to actually see people in real life.
That'd be weird.
It can be done in the metaverse.
Totally. Yeah, you want to keep one hand free, right? Like staying at home. But so this is a unique activation. Is that they have invented people coming to games and then going to a quiz night and going on a stadium tour. Like, this is fucking news to all the old blokes at the MCC and the Blazers taking people around and like showing them the long room. They've invented the stadium tour, folks. Fan Craze and the ICC have invented showing people around a stadium. No one ever did it before. This is the cutting edge of innovation that we're at. They've also invented letting people meet former players. No one did that before. No one's thought of that before. So they've invented the sporty, they've invented the stadium tour, and they've invented the chook raffle at the quiz night, and they've invented watching the tapes back.
VHS.
This is absolutely incredible stuff. What a fucking joke.
Who's buying this shit? That's my overarching. This is an extension of the multi-year partnership, right? Which implies that this, I mean, that the ICC must be fucking pissing themselves. Who is... Because ultimately the ICC is enabling this shit, right? It's not, I mean, I don't know. I assume this is company fan crazy, the ones who are trying to turn a quid out of it. Who is giving their hard-earned cash
for a video?
You've got to be fucking bonkers for a video
of
Robert Linda,
Brandon King making 76.
Robert Linda's got you covered.
Like, I remember that. Yeah, I'm going to own that.
I've got the. I had the back-to-back pack when I was a kid, the 88-89 back-to-back pack from the video shop. That was pretty good. I didn't think to try and monetize it. That got done already.
Imagine
anyway,
going up to
whoever
Ricky
is.
Ponting and saying, I own the NFT of your 100 in the World Cup final in 2003.
He'd have an AVO taken out on you, wouldn't he? If Ricky Ponting, what's the other one? Not an AVO. What's the one? Either way, he wouldn't be getting within 100 metres of Ricky Ponting. If you went up to Ricky and said, "Mate, I've bought the crypto of the 100 you made at the 2003 World Cup," he'd be like, "Right, I'm calling the cops."
Or it's
not unreasonable.
He'd sell you a bottle of,
not unreasonable.
He'd sell you a box of rosé for $700 with the signed cricket ball. That's what he'd do. He knows which side his bread's but.
Oh well. Oh, what an absolute hoot this is. Well, good luck. Hope everyone has a nice time, and hopefully no one gets fleeced. Well, that's the other thing.
Everyone's getting fleeced.
There is some seriousness to it somewhere. Jeff, time for us to take a break to promote things that aren't NFTs. When we return from said break, we actually have quite a bit still to get through because it's been that kind of show. Bye. It's the final word. I'm Adam Collins. He's Jeff Lemon, and north of me, up the motorway, one of them. In Yorkshire. Actually, I heard you and Barat on the Storytime show. I decided to take in you and Barat for the half marathon. In fact, it ran for about an hour 40. It was almost bang on. And where you were debating the merits of going up to Scarborough, having a road trip up there from London, and you were lamenting how long it can often take to drive to Yorkshire. Well, if you drove up to Yorkshire in 2026, you could watch their women's county team play in Tier 1. Now, this is not really that big a deal if you were excluding all of the context, but this does feel like a bit of a shambles, doesn't it, Jeff? Remembering that Yorkshire was slated to come in the second wave with Glamorgan in 2027. So it's been brought forward 1 year. They'll be the 9th team. Glamorgan will be the 10th. But as far as what I'm reading, as far as how I'm interpreting this, they've cracked the shits. They didn't get a Tier 1 team to begin with. Durham got it out of their existing crew that supply the players to the Northern Diamonds, who've been a terrific side, and Yorkshire are a big part of that. This isn't sort of a questioning how effective Yorkshire have been at running their women's program. But Richard Gould reportedly went to a board meeting. There were letters, there were strong lines in the media, there was kicking and screaming and so on. But why the special treatment for them, right? I mean, it does feel to me like they're getting big county test match venue energy advantages out of this. I mean, if Sussex and Kent vented the same way about not getting a Tier 1 side themselves, and they've both got a story to tell, whether you can debate how strong a story they've all got, but I know that Sussex and Kent were aggrieved, so were Northants, but let's use those two smaller counties to begin with. Would have they been getting Tier 1 because of it? I doubt it. It's because Yorkshire are a, air quotes, big county. It's the same week that Colin Graves, as we discussed on the show last week, has been talking about
flogging it off,
privatising the club and all the difficult challenges they've got with their finances at the moment. The ECB put a statement out to say that they'll need to meet governance, strategy, and finance conditions to have this accelerated entry into Tier 1. So I suppose they've got some flexibility to take it away if they were to go.
So what are there, 7 teams going in that year now instead of 6?
Well, there's 8 going in 2025, which we already know about. But when they made the announcement, they also told us who teams 9 and 10 would be. They were giving Glamorgan and Yorkshire a 2-year run up to join that top flight in 2027. And as we I think spoke about at the time, Yorkshire were pissed, and sure, that's fine. They're allowed to be pissed, and they're allowed to explain why they wanted that spot. My understanding from talking to a few people around the traps was that Durham saying that they were going to let the team play on their main ground was a big plus, and they were almost breaking up the existing group. So I mentioned Kent before. Kent with Surrey, one got up, Surrey clearly, and one didn't. Kent. You look over at the Essex Sunrisers set up at the moment. It's got Essex and Middlesex. Well, Lords miss out. The MCC miss out with Middlesex in favour of Essex in no small part due to the relationship they have with the university down there. So, and it's still kind of, I guess, London adjacent. But with Yorkshire, they were getting a side anyway. To me, it's just this idea of arbitrarily saying, well, they're going to get them brought forward by 1 year. I don't really see here why that's happening, other than the fact that they've done a good job at complaining, and they're a big club.
And also, where's the sense in it where in Yorkshire you've got a club who made a shitload of money off the back of a very successful Ashes test last year and still posted a massive multi-million pound loss for the year, despite the earnings they've made. Like, they're in absolute financial dire straits. Like, surely it would be better for them to not have to come up with money to put into an investment team at this point in time, because or are they getting returns? Is there cash coming in from the ECB for setting one of these sides up? So are they desperate?
Sure is. Is it 1.5 million quid a year? Now, Yorkshire did say they'd self-fund to get in earlier, so I'm not sure where that sits. But that's a fair point. They will get a revenue stream out of this. Now, you would imagine that's all hypothecated to spending in the women's program. I'm not doubting the credibility of the people running the women's program there. As I said before, the Diamonds have been a real force for good.
A cash injection can postpone your credit coming due. You know, that kind of thing.
Maybe.
So
maybe. Anyway, there'll be more on all of this. Just on England admin stuff, there's a really good interview with Rob Lynch, who's finishing up as chief of the PCA and moving over to the MCC to take Jamie Cox's old job. Jamie, who's been on the show before, of course, the boss of cricket at the MCC. He's moving to Somerset to be the new chief executive down there, where he used to play and captain the club. And Rob Lynch moving to the MCC. But in finishing with the PCA, you're getting a nice perspective from him on the way the players are seeing all of these various complicated debates around scheduling and prioritisation and where red ball cricket sits and the challenges around that. There's a pull-out quote about Test cricket maybe being like the Ryder Cup, i.e. an Ashes Test being like a set-piece event which doesn't have much other context around it. But I think what Rob's clearly doing there is saying this is what will happen if we don't get involved, if we don't fix the underlying problem. So when people are getting very cross on Twitter about this, like, look at the bigger picture. Anyway, Rob's a good person to read when he's talking. So we'll try and get him on the podcast at some stage. The England women have been playing the Pakistan women in one-day cricket, albeit just one match so far. It wasn't one they'll be making a commemorative DVD about. It was
how many
England
making
are
you going to buy? Just having a look here. Alice Capsey's 44. Are you gonna
from 65 balls and she top scored? So
wall.
it was that kind of game. Yeah, they made 243 for 9. 6 players for England made between 22 and 40, but no one went on with it. Neither Dar took 3 for Pakistan, but they fell short by 37 runs.
You know, your partner wakes up in the middle of the night and sort of rolls over, and you're sitting up in bed on your phone. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just watching my cryptos. Yeah, I just like to go through them all. Just like to watch them all again once in a while. Yeah.
Put the big virtual reality goggles on to do it as well.
Christ.
Anyway, I mean, what a world. Pakistan fell short in the first one. Sophie Eccleston, 3 for 23 from 10. Same old. Cross, Bell and Dean all took 2 for 40 odd. It was very 1990s, one-day international. And sadly, the second one got washed out on that day where everything was washed out. They only played 7 overs. The third game is a couple of hours away from when we're recording on the Tuesday of... so the Tuesday afternoon there at Chelmsford for the final match of that tour. Mentioned last week the Rachel Hayhoe Flint, the 50-over tournament, is on pause at the moment, which means we're into the Charlotte Edwards Cup. The Central Sparks and the Blaze are both 3 from 3. There were a couple of games for every team this weekend, but there was rain about, so it wasn't especially high scoring. But yeah, the Sparks beat the Storm by 21 runs. Interestingly, the Storm have recruited Izzy Wong, because she's on loan from the Sparks because she can't get a game. So Izzy Wong, who was a first-choice England bowler until very recently, has fallen down the pecking order to the point where she's needed to be loaned off, which is of some note. The Blaze beat the Diamonds by 4 runs, chasing 137 pretty comfortably. Lauren Winfield-Hill made 38 and top scored. She signed up for Queensland, Jeff, for the WNCL. Next year. So that'll be a good addition to the tournament. She's one of the really good people around the circuit. She started a new podcast with the Wisdom guys, actually. So she's doing good things on and off the field. The Southeast Stars chased down 140 pretty easily against the Thunder. Paige Schofield, 73 not out from 39 balls. Have that. Tash Farrant took a couple of wickets. She's been making runs and taking wickets. The Vipers defended 171 for 2 pretty easily. Georgia L was 73, not out. The Northwest Thunder couldn't get it done for the second time on the weekend when the Blaze chased down 152. Catherine Bryce, who we've had on the show before, top scored with 61. The Diamonds were kept to 80 for 9 in a rain-reduced game. This was a weird one. So this was yesterday when everyone thought it was going to be rained out. Heavy rain on the bank holiday Monday. 80 for 9 in 11 overs, but they nearly got it done. The Sparks over the line from the final ball. Eve Jones, 26 not out, but 7 down. So 80 for 9 places 81 for 7 in an 11 over thrash at Leeds, that ground we were talking about before. No result with the Storm and the Stars. They got rained off at Beckenham. And the Sunrisers won by 3 runs. Against the side, they got a good record against the Vipers. The Vipers are the standout team in England women's regional cricket, but the Sunrisers have had the wood over them the last couple of years, the side that's had the least success. But yes, they made 134 for 5, and the Vipers fell 3 runs short, with Sophie Munro taking 4 for 27 for the winning team. And yes, that puts the Sunrisers on the board. That's their first win in this tournament this year. And yeah, we'll do a little bit more on the show at Edwards as we get deeper into that tournament.
All right. And county cricket stuff, we're at the end. I know, well, we're at the end of the beginning, which may not be the end. It may not be the beginning of the end, but perhaps it is the end of the beginning, or it's the middle. It's the middle of both. We're halfway in. We're 7 games in. It's going to be all T20 blast for a while now. While the T20 World Cup's on, I suppose it kind of makes sense. But yeah, halfway mark of the season, seeing some little bits and pieces getting up, including Nathan Lyon's absolute shredder of a delivery that came back about 1.5 meters to hit the stumps. But perhaps more interesting in terms of cats among pigeons, Surrey lost the game. Everyone's talking, bigly. Everyone's talking 3 in a row, but they got pumped by Hampshire, I saw on the scorecards.
Yeah, they did. So this is the last championship cricket for about a month. The Blast takes over, then a couple of rounds of championship cricket are squeezed in there. So we're halfway now, 7 games in. But let's start there at the Rose Bowl. Hampshire beat Surrey by an innings and 278 runs, remembering that Surrey had won, I think, 4 on the trot to that point. Surrey all at 127 after electing to bat first. Burns and Sibley were 36 for none.
How long did it take them?
Like 20 overs. It was very, very quick. Abbott 5 for 25. No, I mean,
how long did it take Burns and Sibley to make 36?
Sorry. Well, I would say that this year Sibley's batting in a way that it may not have taken as long as you might have thought.
That has been your suggestion. I'm not willing to watch him to verify.
Abbott's fifer now makes him the leading wicket taker ever at the Rose Bowl in championship cricket. Remembering they've only been playing there for 22 years. I think 2003 was the first cricket at the new ground, but he overtakes final word favourite Dimitri Mascarenhas, who had 100.
This is Kyle Abbott, not Sean Abbott.
Yeah. Yes, Sean playing for the other team.
I'm just clarifying that for persons who may be confused.
Yes, no, that's fair enough. Liam Dawson started a busy game with 3 for 21, and Michael Neser, new club, straight in the book with a couple of wickets in rolling Surrey. Then Hampshire go massive, 608 for 6 declared. The wicketkeeper Ben Brown unbeaten 165. Gubbins made another 100. Toby Abbott, top of the list, made a century as well. Really drove that great attack into the ground. They all bowled so many overs, and then with that pressure on them, they were bowled out for 203 second time around. Dawson, after making 81 and taking 3 for, then bowls 25.1 overs, 11 maidens, 4 for 45. Jeff,
I keep saying it.
You're hearing it more and more from me anyway. Dawson,
I've been saying it for about 3 years. I'm like, give the prick a chance.
Every week he makes runs and takes wickets. And Hampshire started the season slowly, but anyway, it was Surrey's heaviest championship defeat when they've lost by an innings. So their heaviest first class defeat was in 1866 against England, a match where W.G. Gray scored a double century. And in 1948, Bradman's Invincibles also won by an innings and 296. But this is the biggest they've been beaten by in championship cricket. That's a stat via Cricinfo, so that's not for nothing. Storytime areas for us there. And the reason why the competition narrows is that Essex got the job done in style at Canterbury by an innings of 96 runs, so that it's down to just 2 points of difference. So Surrey had a 1-game buffer, and that's been all eaten up in the space of a bad weekend for them. They've both won 4 games and drawn a couple and lost one. But yeah, Essex 591 for 7. Jordan Cox playing against his old club, 207. He made a century against them earlier in the season as well. So he's had 3 hits against Kent since moving. He's gone a century and now 207. Huge. Elgar, Brown and Pepper all made other significant runs for Essex. And then Kent took a long time to get bowled out, 143 overs, but they were still well behind, only making 394. Joe Denley top scoring. The news out of this, Sam Cook only bowled 6 of the 143 overs. I'm afraid to say he's done a hammy. Dreadful timing.
Come on.
Dreadful timing for Sam Cook. So I read Will McPherson tweeted out saying it's not a serious injury, but I think he might have said that they're expecting it not to be serious, but they've taken the cautious approach. He's leading the comp with 29 wickets with his teammate Jamie
I guess
Porter.
he's got a month to get right, and there's no more championship to miss. So probably if there's a time to do it, it's 23rd. Now. He's made his case, he's made his run, and now he can rehab and try to be in the frame.
You'd hope he can play in one of those 2 rounds before the first test, either on the 23rd of June or the one that comes after that. But, they done the job. They make Kent bat the second time following on, and then the spinners go to work. Well,
you
in
would
the first
hope
innings,
so.
by the way,
After
Matt
bowling
Critchley.
143 overs first time around. It's
Well, Critchley bowled 40 of them, 5 for 88. Matt Critchley for England as well.
We're pretty much picking a team here. We've got most of an 11 booked up.
Yeah, that's it. Why not? And then Kent only made 101 when following on. Harmer. Critchley takes all the wickets in the first innings. Harmer's like, no, I'm the senior spinner champ. 4 for 32 from 23. Critchley 2 more though. So 7 for the match for our man. Up at Durham, a 2-day game.
Ooh.
Durham rolled Somerset by an innings and 6 runs by the end of the second day. Somerset won 7-1. Stokes 4 for. Peter Siddle 3 for 27. Set your watch to it, Jeff. Love to see it. Durham only made 265 though, so it was game on. But David Bettingham, 101. That's 4 centuries in a row. Leads the country by the end of May. Unfortunately, he's at about 900 runs. So as it was for him in 2021, he fell short just of reaching 1,000 runs by the end of May.
What did Sam Northeast end up at?
Now he's got a test century. He made 700 odd before the end. So the 335 in the first hit and about the same since. Didn't quite go there. But Somerset were all out for 88 in their second innings. Stokes bowled 1 spell, 4 for 23. It's worth checking out on the socials. They clipped up every ball of it. He's looking fucking good. Quick, swinging it. Stokes, proper. Not Stokes banging it in halfway and just trying to stay in the game. That's right. He was taking wickets with beauties. And then Stuart Broad immediately tweeted out saying, Ben, I love you. Please stop bowling turnover spells with a bad knee. So, but I don't know. I think Stokes will continue bowling long spells because that's the thing he enjoys doing. So Durham... Durham now move into 4th spot, 83 points. They're there and thereabouts. It was a bit of a sad draw at New Road, Jeff, with Notts visiting Worcester. No play on day 1. Always angry Notts fans getting shitty about not being told that the play wasn't going to get on due to... what are they meant to say? Oh, don't rock up. We're just going to give up. We're going to give up. We're not going to try and get on at all. Of course they tried, but we all know the challenges with New Road. This was the first championship game back. And it didn't work out, and that's bloody sad. It's not cause for getting angry if you're a Notts fan.
Wet ground or what?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a wet ground, and it had rained heavily overnight. But we know the ongoing problems with that ground, right? Very busy second day. Worcestershire bowled out for 80, and Dylan Pennington against his old club 3 for 25. I guess Cook's loss could be his gain. Pennington has been so impressive so far this season with the aforementioned Sam Cook hamstring strain. They missed their chance against Surrey. Worcester had them 13 for 4, and now having had 2 important performances after the tragedy of Josh Baker's passing, they've been rolled for 80, and then Notts were 234 for 3 by stumps on day 2. Hamid made 100, but they didn't get any play on days 3 and 4. So 3 of the 4 days the ground wasn't fit for action. So this is going to continue the conversation around the suitability for New Road, which is a really difficult conversation. I know there's been debate in the local council in the last fortnight. The local Labor, I think that's a Labor council there. They're saying they're not leaving New Road, like they're trying their hardest to make it work. But there will reach a point. Ashley Giles, as chief executive, said that as well. It's like there does reach a tipping point.
Well,
and maybe
if you've got fans angry that you can't get on, they'll also be angry if you want to move the ground because, tradition and all that. But unless you can do some radical and extremely expensive re-engineering of the entire sort of fluid dynamics of the area, then I'm not sure how it can be sustainable.
And a busier draw at Old Trafford with Warwickshire. It gets Lanks off the bottom. Warwickshire 284. Davies 127 to carry his bat, the captain. He's done a really good job as new captain, Davies. He's also up around 700 runs. Lanks all at 149 though, so they were in a way lucky to get out of this with a draw. Jacob Bethel, left arm spinner, don't mind him. Watched him bowl a few weeks ago. I think got a bit about him. Youngster as well. Warwickshire 96 for 3. In their second innings when they shook hands. That ball you mentioned to Davies in the second dig, bowled through the gate by Lyon. Lovely final wicket at the club, Lyon having one that turned square to hit leg stump through the gate. And there was some nice vision of Lyon coaching mid-spell Jack Morley, the young spinner coming through with Lanks and trying to leave a legacy beyond what he's done as a bowler, but also the influence over a couple of months with the young group there. I'm sure Lyon would have been something of an assistant coach. And they'll be hoping to get him back for a second stint or a third stint or a fourth stint, having clearly enjoyed himself up there. And Lanks are now up to ninth spot because 8 points for the draw helps them get above Kent. And at the top of the table, it's Surrey on 115, Essex 113, and Somerset in third spot on 99. At the turn, Jeff.
It's interesting with Lyon because he puts on that curmudgeonly sort of crotchety thing and pretends to be all taciturn and stuff. But that's been a big part of it with him is wanting to help. Remember them playing Derbyshire, was it, in 2019? And then Kadri, the teenage Afghan off spinner who was bowling, as soon as the game was over, Lyon was into the nets with him, and did like quite an extensive session in there with him, going through his action and wanting to contribute. It's quite a cool thing.
Yeah, I believe it. Like some people say they're trying to develop their understudy and their successor. Like, I actually believe it when they talk about Lyon and Todd Murphy. Right. You could see it when we were in India last year. Like, he's invested in the Todd Murphy story like we all are, because Todd's a prodigiously talented young kid. And Lyon knows that he wants to play for 3 more years and play in the Ashes the next time they're in England. But, like, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he gets injured or he'll be 40 then. And he wants to leave a legacy on that front as well. Divi 2, Jeff, 4 draws. They've only been 7 wins in 7 rounds. And I do think...
7 brides for 7 brothers.
I think there's one game in all of this that kind of sums the whole thing up. So Middlesex and Sussex are at the top of the table. They've got 5 of the 7 wins between them, right? This game was the epitome of a ball draw. Sussex, 554 for 9 in 164 overs. Now, I get the idea of batting once and putting scoreboard pressure on, but it didn't play out that way at all. Pujara, to celebrate his success, 129, his 10th century in 22 games for Sussex, averaging 75.
65 all up, first class.
And the 65 all up at first class, indeed. And John Simpson, who's playing at his old home ground, captaining Sussex, made 167. Great. But then Middlesex, for the 3rd time this year, have taken a first innings lead after conceding 500. Now, you can interpret this a couple of different ways. One, they're doing the safe thing when they know they can no longer realistically win the game. But as others have said, is there room for creative captaincy here? Is there a declare behind option to try and move the game forward to seek full points? Maybe if the draw wasn't worth so many points. There's been this debate in recent years, should it be worth 8 or 5? Where with 8 right now, it was 5 as recently as, I think, last year. It was 8 before that, 5 before that. We haven't quite settled on what it's going to be long term, but you're seeing a game like this where both sides reach an incentive after about 5 or 6 sessions to almost just make sure that you get your maximum batting points plus the draw points, and you keep your spot in the pecking order in a season where there have been a lot of draws. So there were 360 overs in this match, rain not a factor, barely at all. Robson made 100, Higgins made 100 as well for Middlesex in reply. The highlights were John Simpson setting a 9-0 field. He set a 2 slips a gully and 6 other fielders in front of square in a ring on the offside. Makes for a lovely photo, but clearly not very good cricket. Ollie Robinson, as in the seamer Ollie Robinson, bowling off breaks. Not the first time we've seen that. And as I've said before, I think he will become an off spinner one day. But didn't have much success with it. But because they got the draw though, they remain first and second in a weekend where everyone else has drawn as well. So I don't know. I think it comes back to the price signals here that declaring behind. Why would you? Why would you consider trying to set a game up if you've got that safety blanket there?
You've got so many games in a season as well, so you just make sure you don't get done damage by the ones where that's a risk. So, but then they were talking about wanting to encourage the draw in at times to get players to learn how to bat long and all that kind of stuff, and not be so aggressive. That was all part of the Rob Keith thing of using the kookaburra and so on. Higher scores make players bat for a longer period of time, so that it's not 220 plays 190 plays 230 kind of thing. I'm just looking at the scores here. Yeah, the Derbyshire Gloucestershire game the same, 526 plays 530. Yark, everyone making run. Bracey got 100. Oh well, good on him.
Well, I just wanted to say, we won't even bother talking about that game because Matthew Lamb made a double for Derbyshire, then Bracey gets 144 for Gloss. But there's a really nice interview in the Telegraph with Will last week about James Bracey's brief international career in 2021 and just what that took out of him and how devastated he was and how it took him 3 years to recover from, having not started well, 2 ducks to begin his Test career, the perception that he didn't keep well. All the added complications around COVID and so on. But it looks like he's turned the corner, Bracey. He's been a couple of hundreds in the space of a couple of weeks there. So good on him. But a game where it's 526 to 530, much as it was at Lords, where you're seeing the team batting second who are incentivised just to try and play it safe. Then Leicestershire, Glamorgan 387, Marnus missed out. Leicestershire 343 for 9 declared. Pete Hanscom, another 100, averaging 70 odd this season. So good on him, 200s and a 99. He's captaining the Foxes in the Blast as well. Timmy van der Gurten, 5 for 65. But, we're not going to see him at the World Cup because he's playing Blast, which I think is just shit. Yeah. Fred Klaasen's the other one who falls into that category. They'd both clearly be in the Dutch first 11, but they're not going to be there next week in the Caribbean or America. I can't remember where they play. I think it's the Caribbean, isn't it? The Dutch. They're drawn on that side of the draw.
I think they have a game in New York, don't they? The Dutch.
Oh, if they have a game in New York, then they're in America. If they are, well, I hope so. I probably should know who are playing in New York, and that's a job for not today. The ball draw plays out. Ingram, by the way, he's leading the tournament, leading Division 2 for runs, 800 odd runs at 95. Didn't even play this week, and we'll leave it on a draw as well. Northants Yorks. We'll press fast forward to the end here, where it was quite a good finish. They were set 326 to win, Northants, and they only had 57 overs, so it wasn't that likely. But they got in trouble. They were down to 219 for 8, and Ricardo Vasconcelos was opening and still there. Had Siddharth Kaul join him, and they had to get through 6 overs at 8 down, and they did so. So they earned their 8 points, you would say, Northants, having been behind on the first innings. So that leaves, as I mentioned before, Sussex and Middlesex in the promotion spots at the halfway mark, and Leicestershire not far away on 92, Gloucestershire on 90. So there's still a race to be had there when they get back into the 4-day stuff in
Dallas, New York, St Vincent, St Lucia. That's the Netherlands for the opening.
Oh, right.
So they get a little bit of everywhere.
I know that.
But not if you're Tim van der Gurten, because you've got to play the T20 Blast. It does seem remarkably disproportionate. Sorry, you can't play the World Cup. You have to play this, to be completely frank, just bang average competition.
Well, I love the Blast. I mean, it's not even a Blast thing for me. It's more just every other country releases their players. It's more just like every other country can offset them. It just seems unfair to me that every other nation who has players in the Blast can yank them out apart from the Netherlands. And that's just simply because they're in it. And that's the beauty of the Netherlands being an associate is they can still have full-time pros playing in the championship. It's vexed. We've talked about this many times about what happened with Ireland, but you can't imagine. I don't expect this ever happen to Ireland when they're on the way through.
Oh, sorry, you can't go on MasterChef because I want you to stay home and make me some toast. Like you want to give players the possibility to achieve everything they can achieve, and there's no question about the primacy in that format of what actually matters more.
Jeff, that's us done. That's a long weekly show, but we had a lot to get through, and as we said off the top, it was a big weekend up in Scotland, which deserved our attention. Thanks again to everyone who was part of that. I didn't get to name check everyone earlier, and I don't intend on doing so now, but we had 65 people in our crew. Like, it was a massive thing, and lots of families and parents and uncles and aunties. And, it was really, really cool. So, if this is the sort of thing you want to be involved in with the Final Word, this is the sort of thing we do. We've got cricket games with the Final Word this summer, one in September against the Oval Dream boys, as always. And we're going to be back in Edinburgh between the 19th and 21st of August on our what is now annual cricket trip to Scotland. That'll be a thing. It's been a mighty effort on fundraising, a mighty effort from everyone committing to this, and just investing in it emotionally as well. Everyone was all in on this. It was the type of people we attract to the podcast tend to be like that, and I couldn't be any more appreciative of this community. It's very special.
If you want to be part of it, patreon.com/thefinalword is the way to do it. You can play Nerd Pledge there. You can get on the Discord chat page. You can access the ad-free feed if you want to switch off the commercial breaks, and plenty of other things going on in that part of the world. That's us. It's season 16, episode 17, the last weekly show before the T20 World Cup starts. We'll be there with dailies, of course, when the action starts on the 1st of June. We'll have a story time out in between now and then as well. Take a deep breath. We're getting ready. We'll see you there.
Bye.